Hello, 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 hello. Oop. What the hell? Alright, see here. Alright, we're good. Hi, everyone. Hello. Hey, Saren. How is you? How's everyone today? I got like, what, 5 or 6 of you here already? How's everyone? How's everyone's dumpster? Is it on fire? Is it full of rotten trash and rotten food? Is it full of just paper, just recyclables? Is it empty? Is it empty, but it has like maggots and flies kind of crawling around the sides of it from the previous, pickup? What does your dumpster look like, huh? What's your dumpster? I'm higher than the sun. It's pretty high, gotta say. It's pretty. That's pretty up there, Sarah. Yep, I gotta say that's not a small amount of what have you. Hold on. Looking for something. Where the hell did I put it? 1 second. Always misplacing things. One of my wonderful curses. Okay. Let's do this. That works. Alright. So. Let's see. Okay. Alright, so welcome, per usual, to Schizoid Saturday. So, Schizoid Saturday, for those that don't know, and I'm sure the only people that watch this are probably the only ones that know. I doubt I get new people watching my streams ever. Maybe as a VOD. I don't know. All I know is that when I make it a VOD, I get like, I don't know, like a nice, like a little chunk more people that watch it. But what I was gonna state was oh yeah, the thing that we do here is basically on Saturdays I get submissions. I put a question up, usually on Wednesday. And by Saturday, I hope to get some submissions from schizoids that are on the server. If you don't know about the server, it's the Zoid Void Discord server. And sometimes they submit stuff, and sometimes they don't. This time, I didn't get that many. Last Saturday, I got a ton. And they were in-depth, and they were rough, man. That was a rough one last time. That was a really rough one. But this time was another one that could have been kind of rough, but it wasn't too bad. But I got some responses and such. So I will be reading those today. It's anonymous in the sense that, I don't say who it is that said it, or, no usernames are said, nothing like that. The only person that gets to actually know who sent it is my stupid ass, because not my mods, not my dev. And to be honest, I don't really pay that much attention to who's sending it. I'm more interested in what they have to say. So, because I think there's a lot to learn there, and I like to hear about other schizoid experiences. We may have very similar external behaviors, especially when, you're just starting out and dealing with all that stuff. And but internally, we are magnificently different. So it's really nice to hear a little bit of that internal thoughts and world, even if it's just a brief paragraph that's ultimately like coming from a rando on the internet that is going through similar good fun times. All right, so let me bring up the question that I originally posited. So that question, if I can be competent enough for 1 second to obtain it. There it is. Okay, so this was the question of the week. Very simple, very straightforward. And I'm guessing to some degree people manage this stuff. So I wanted to know how you manage this stuff. So how do you manage your anhedonia or avolition, or both? What tips do you have, if any, and what is the worst part of it? Are there any benefits in your mind? Right. I've talked about like the one benefit I can come up with, like the one silver lining about anhedonia, and I brought it up in the past, is I'll use that time to do stuff that I need to get done that I would normally be like, ugh, I don't want to do this, right? Like I would normally be very negative about, but because I'm pretty much not feeling good or bad about anything, just not feeling shit, then I'll just do that stuff, because it'll just be like no less gratifying than anything else when I'm in that kind of state of mind. So you might as well just get some shit done that you need to get done. That way when you come out of it, usually you do, you have, like, it comes in waves for many people, I don't know, it depends, then all of a sudden you have all that shit done, and you can spend some time doing a handful of activities and special interests that you have fun with. So that's like a silver lining I can think of. I don't know if there's any others. Probably not too many, because it generally sucks. But anyway, I asked that question, and that's what I wanted to hear from others, including those in chat. If you're watching this as a VOD later, put a comment in the bottom. You know, if you want to answer the question, like just for my entertainment or interest, curiosity, put it in the comments. Put it in the chat. Or next week submit through the thing, or submit right now and it'll still go through. I'm going to be talking for at least a good chunk of time here. I usually go about an hour and a half. So all right, let me switch over to being able to hear some folks that I think have arrived. Second. Yeah, it looks like they have. Okay. Wait, what's that? Yeah, there we go. Hey, Shadow. Hi, Olivia.
Morning.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Same shit, different toilet. Good to see you, Shadow. What are you munching on?
I'm munching on some pizza, some old pizza. I was gonna make dinner. Like, wait a minute, I have food in my fridge I need to eat.
We got pizza, man. Did you reorder? Oh no, because this is the new pad, right?
Yeah, this is the new.
I haven't seen
I've shown it like at least once.
Not on stream.
Yeah, on stream.
I don't remember that.
Because I got the bookshelf.
Yeah. Oh, look at all your nerd shit. Hell yeah.
Come out of rocks and bionicles and shit.
Hell yeah. You should buy more bionicles.
I should.
You're never too old for fucking bionicles. Enjoy it.
I feel like I need to reread a lot of the Bionicle books because it's been so long since I've seen them. It's like
you were like a kid, weren't you?
I was 11 when I first read them. It's been that long since I've read them again.
Yeah, I've done that a few times where I go back. You end up one thing that's interesting, and me and my wife, we were talking about it. It's that sometimes you'll go back and read or watch or whatever, listen to something that was like the thing that you had on replay or really interested in when you were like a teen or something, or younger, and then you watch it and there might be some nostalgia or whatever, but sometimes you'll watch it and you'll get like a totally different perspective on it, right? Like, because you have all these new ideas and you've matured and you have all, like, you've gone through a lot of shit, more life experience in it, and then you go back and you watch like this cartoon or this movie you liked when you were like 12, and then you're like, oh man, like sometimes you'll actually find and we've discussed this, sometimes you'll find like as an adult you'll go like, no wonders I like this.
Yeah, like I know why I'll like it. Yeah. But I've already told you I've had that experience already with the Tails Principle. Because there was like a 6-year gap between my first and second playthrough of that.
Yeah, and it's like it's kind of a trip. It's kind of a trip to experience that. Let me actually, I think the music's a little fix up really quick. So yeah, I'll have those experiences. I'll find them quite interesting. There's been a few times where I've gone back and I go, why did I like this at all? This sucks. But that's rare. Most of the time, I would say like 89% of the time, like whatever I liked when I was, a kid or a teenager, I still appreciate I just get to appreciate more in a very different way. But anyway, okay, so Olivia, how are you? What's up?
I'm doing all right. Yeah.
Just hanging out for a bit here. See,
Yeah, I should be asleep. I really should be asleep, but like I just thought I'd hop on for a bit.
well, you hold on for dear life as you need. All right. So,
It's Saturday. You can experiment.
But yeah, but it's their time zone. Like we're like completely.
Yeah, but forget about it.
Forget about it. Oh, okay. That fixes everything. Just don't think about it, right? Right, Shadow? Just don't
forget about it.
Just don't think about it. I like that
It's
one better.
New York.
Just don't think about it. All right, here we go. Okay, so I got the submissions here. I only have a few, but they're actually the few that I do have are. I only have 1, 2, and 3, but the 2 are long, and there's one shorter one, but that's it. I was surprised I didn't get more because it was such a straightforward question. I thought like, okay.
My answer to that is, to be honest, I don't know how exactly to deal with the anhedonia. Like, I'm still struggling to find that answer myself.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the thing. That's how I deal with it, right? Is the whole thing I've already described. Like, I deal with it like that.
I don't know if it's lack for people wanting to answer it. I think it's just a lack of knowing how to.
Yeah, maybe they don't have an answer, or they don't have any tips because they haven't been able to fucking figure anything out. What about you, Olivia? You got any tips for those times? Where, like, you know, like music doesn't inspire you, your artistic endeavors feel like empty.
So I find that I have to keep up like a momentum. Mm-hmm. So like that really helps it managing anhedonia over like a long period of time. So just having some kind of like cadence or rhythm to things. Rather than like stopping completely, because I find if I'm doing something and I'm like active and I have a routine or like a schedule, then it's a little easier to keep interested. And like if I stop, then that's when the anhedonia kicks in, and it's sort of hard to get back out of that again. But I mean that's the only thing I can think of really.
No, that makes sense. I mean,
at least on the top of my mind.
No, yeah. If anything else pops in,
yeah.
But yeah, it's that whole like I don't know. It depends on the person that deals with it. Because like I pretty much just full stop on everything except for the stuff I need to do, or like some kind of like brainless activity that I find kind of a little solace in. So I either do something incredibly unproductive that I kind of can just do with like my eyes closed, or I do something productive. Anytime I've tried to just like smash through, like just be like, okay, well, I had this thing to do that I was enjoying, and now I can't seem to enjoy anything. I'm just gonna do it anyway, and I'm just still gonna keep at it. Like in my experience, and I know a few Zoids probably feel similarly. It just frustrates me. I get angry when I do that. Because then I'm like sitting there going like, why am I doing this? I'm not enjoying it at all. Mm-hmm. Like, and then I'm just kind of pissed. I'm just like, because then I'm like, what the fuck's wrong with me? I just want to enjoy the thing I enjoy. Why am I not enjoying it right now? And why does it just feel like nothing? And then that like for some people, it sometimes.
To be honest, that makes it worse whenever I get into that headspace.
Yeah, but for some people, it creates like a little feedback loop where. Or type thing, but where like the next time you just start associating like that negative frustration with the activity. Yeah, that's what I've experienced personally. So I'd like to know how you could just keep doing it anyway. Like, do you, even if you're not enjoying it, you'll just keep kind of just doing it, like to keep the momentum?
I mean, I feel like there's no way around like the drop-offs due to like unrealistic expectations. I mean, at least for me, like that's just like a setup for failure. So you're tempering expectations and keeping them like especially if it's like a hobby. I don't know, like I've been playing guitar and like I'm not that good or anything, but like I find as long as I temper my expectations on it, like it's fine. I make progress. So
And
I don't know if that,
yeah, no, I think I think I get what you're saying.
yeah.
But so even when you don't feel like doing shit, or you're not really getting that much enjoyment out of it, like one day, but maybe another day you would, you keep at it because you're looking to see the positive outcomes of continuing regardless, like practicing and so on and so forth.
But yeah, I mean I also enjoy it as well. So like if you can do something that you enjoy that like makes you feel good.
Yeah, but
So
what?
so you're not doing it like you know, you're not hitting your head against the wall like, oh, I really want to improve on this. Like you actually enjoy it.
But what about like when? Because
Yeah.
I'm talking about more like when I'm talking about anhedonia, I'm talking about more like the
Like chores and stuff.
yeah, you can't enjoy it. Like the thing you normally enjoy, like say playing a guitar, that day just feels like nothing.
Completely numb and
It's just
empty.
numb. You're just like you're playing
Right.
it and you're like, I'm not getting the dopamine or whatever. I'm not getting any kind of motivation chemicals while I'm doing this. This is just I'm just strumming and I'm doing it. But yesterday or the 2 days ago, I was doing this and it felt nice and cozy. Now it doesn't feel like anything. It's that feeling that fucking is rough. I don't know. So that's kind of what I'm referring to more, because like there'll be times where like I don't know. I'm like a weeb and a nerd for a bunch of stuff. I'll get into something for real, like really into it. I'm like, this is really cool. This is really novel, really interesting. It's really sparking my curiosity. And then I'll do it that one day, and then I'll go to sleep feeling like I kind of looking forward to trying that again. But then sometimes it'll just be a day where it just doesn't, like I go back to it and I'm looking and I'm just sitting there staring, and I'm like, I don't know. Like it's just like that's how it feels. Like I'm just like clicking. I'm doing what I did yesterday, but now it doesn't feel enjoyable. And I don't have like there might be a reason, right? Something might have triggered for me. Certain things trigger that sort of anhedonia, but I'm oftentimes unaware of what that reason might have been, right? Like there's been times where it could be I don't know. I don't have like the best relationship with my father, right? So like I get a phone call or a text from him in the morning, and then I'll see it, and I'll feel pretty just kind of numb to it, right? I'll just see it and I'll go, oh, and then I'll ignore it, and then but then coincidentally that feeling kind of kicks in of not feeling very much and just feeling just lethargic and indifferent toward the thing. So then I don't want to do the things I want to do. That's the rough part. Like it feels like you can't choose when and when it doesn't do its thing. I don't know if I'm
I
making
mean,
sense.
no, it makes perfect sense. I mean, do you feel more like this when you, I don't know, for example, retreating to your head, or like are in general more what do I say?
Disassociated, less present.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, it definitely does, but like I can be in my head and be perfectly fine, right? Like it doesn't cause that. I can go real deep into my head and then I'll be fine because I'm thinking about it, and I might be actively enjoying whatever I'm thinking about, right? But it's like these, for me, it's like these an event or a certain thing I saw, a certain thing I heard, that I kind of just, I might like just shrug my shoulders at, because at the given moment I just kind of don't care. But some part of my brain somewhere cares,
Mm.
and for me, that's when it often will kick off. And sometimes that, like I said, I can't recognize what it was. I have to like think back. I'm like, why do I feel like so damn just empty and I don't want to do anything right now? And so I'll think back on the week or I'll think back on the day, and then I'll recognize like patterns.
Yeah. So it's like the way I want to describe it is anhedonia evolution isn't the lack of an emotion, but it's the presence of emptiness.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I want to word it. It is an emotion in and of itself, and it's almost like, for me, it's always sprung by like I've been, for example, one week I could have been on a roller coaster of emotions, whether good or bad, doesn't matter. And then I just like, there's a day where, okay, now I'm blanketed with emptiness because yesterday was, or the earlier in the week was very much,
it was overstimulating or something. Yeah,
like a lot. Yes,
like having a particularly overstimulating day can kind of, yeah, I've had that experience too. And it's and what's interesting, Olivia, what you had described more, that kind of reminds me more of the evolution part, which is oftentimes that for a lot of people, I think it's that feeling of starting a new project, right? Starting a new thing, and then getting that feeling of like that what you were saying, like having these expectations, and then just thinking, okay, well, I can do this, blah blah blah, feeling a little bit motivated, and then you see how long the path is, and then you go, and then you maybe you have a little bit of belief that like, well, even if I went down that path, ultimately, what is that really going to achieve? Like, I'm not gonna, like, it's not going to accomplish anything, and so you give up on like projects and ideas and stuff like halfway through them, and then you just like, they sit on the table, and then they just collect dust, and then sometimes you might think back to want to go back on it, and then you think, nah, I already forgot so much of what I needed to know to continue it, or I don't even remember where I started or what I did with it. And then you kind of just, like, it's just lost to time. Yeah, because evolution's that. It's not being able to complete things that you set your mind to. It's that, yeah, just like, like, it's kind of like if you were to decide, oh, I'm going to learn the guitar, and you practice your ass off for, like, I don't know, a few weeks, and then you just, have some negative, intrusive thoughts, some kind of rumination about something else that then gets associated to the guitar playing or something, and then all of a sudden, like, you just kind of give up on it. You stop playing guitar for like a few months, and then you go back to the guitar and you think, oh, I'm going to go back to it, and then you're like, oh, I don't know, I don't want to start over. I don't, whatever progress I made is probably lost now. And then,
is it maybe that you devalue the emotional connection you have to the thing, and some part of you, for whatever reason, either it's like a fear of intimacy or it's just logic your way out of emotions,
I don't know,
where you don't want to rebuild that emotional connection? Is that what that is?
I mean, I don't know. That's interesting, right? I think a lot of it has to do with a feeling of disappointment, like, or like expecting disappointment.
Yeah, but is it like you have an emotional connection to the thing you're doing?
Yeah.
And then something ruins it, either because you're self-sabotaging or you're disappointed, or
something taints it, maybe something
from
the outside world taints it.
The normal schizoid response for an emotional connection is porcupine, right? Bad. And then you can't rebuild that emotional connection because of these aversions. But you need that
because something already ruined it. Something already made it no good anymore. Like, something tainted.
And like, the way I wanted to describe anhedonia evolution was not that it's a lack of feeling, but it's like a blanket feeling in and of itself.
Oh, so it's an actual feeling. It just feels like nothing. Okay.
So is it like a more active aversion to building an emotional connection?
Maybe.
That's interesting.
I mean, I don't know. But I'd actually like to, like, what are your thoughts, Olivia? Like, what do you think could be? Is it just a chemical process and your brain's just doing weird things? You have no control. Is it being triggered by trauma in some way? Like, what do you think? Oh, are you muted?
Sorry, I unmuted on my laptop.
That's okay.
Yeah, I mean, what you said was interesting, Shadow. Like, I think the sorry, I'm having like brain
Oh,
freeze.
it's late. It's like,
brain
what time is it for you?
Yeah.
What time is it?
like 3 a.m.
That'll do it. That'll do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's late.
Yeah, that's a little bit.
Lack of emotional connection to things. So I think as part of the schizoid defense,
Mm-hmm.
I have found myself like rejecting things that require some kind of emotional investment. Not just people, but like also even things like fashion or like music choices and styles. Like I'll like have a very particular thing and like sort of push other stuff away.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think that I don't know if this is relatable, by the way. This
is making sense. This is making sense.
Yeah, because it's like a distance from larger society. But I don't know. I've sort of found that to be somewhat like counterproductive.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
and I think sort of breaking through that by breaking through that sort of helps, you know.
Yeah.
And like, you know, there's like a temporary pain in doing it, but I don't know, I find that, you know, then I feel I can put more emotional kind of investment in things. Because there has to be a reason for doing things, right? Like, it's like, when you have like a side project, like, it could be that you just find it interesting, right? Like, it's just, oh, this is kind of cool, it's interesting to me. But I feel like that often is not like enough of a motivation. So I feel like it has to have more, the more meaning that you can kind of give to something.
Yeah.
And like the more kind of connections you can give, like the stronger the connection, you know, with what you do, like emotional connection with what you're doing is. So
yeah, but then that emotional connection can like be scary, because then it's like it's an avenue for disappointment, a new avenue, or for, you know what, I'm not saying that's right or correct, but
or maybe just reopening old scars.
Well, perhaps. I mean, like, one reason why I want to learn the guitar, right, is because, like, my dad plays the guitar, my granddad plays the guitar, and my uncle plays the guitar. And also, like, in a band and stuff. So it's like, I feel like there's kind of, like, something in common there that, like, I don't know, I could go around and, like, jam or something, you know, like... So there's just one it's not like the only reason. There's many other reasons. Like, I also like enjoy it and stuff and like playing, but
it's interesting. I like that.
The more, I feel like the more meaning you can give to something, the more it's sort of attractive and the more like connection you have to it, you know.
Yeah. So you kind of have to take that risk, huh? Is what you're saying.
Yeah, and because the meaning usually comes beyond just like your own perspective of it. It's related to like often to other people. I mean, like I know you don't like taking praise about like how, you know, this sort of project is helping people and so on.
Yeah.
But like that would be like a really big like reason to like enrich that. I'm guessing like if hypothetically you could, you know, tap into it, but it sounds like you do it in a different way anyway.
Yeah,
like in terms of
I do.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I'm so just interested in people praising even the small efforts that I do with all this, and well, they're not small. I'm like underselling, but point is, I don't really like when I see a comment that says, "Oh, you're so awesome," or something, I just kind of go, oh, okay, whatever. Like, but when I see the comments that say, oh, I am now able to have an easier time getting up in the morning because of something that you helped produce, and that's where I get some useful motivation, is when I get that. Right, like it's just praise in and of itself. It's kind of like if it's, I don't know, how do I put it? It's like if somebody focuses more on the person than the effort that was put in. Like I'm trying to think like an example of like with something like guitar playing. It's kind of like if somebody said, "Wow, you're really cool for being able to play that guitar well," right? Like for me, that would just be like, I don't care. But if they were to say, "Wow, I can absolutely tell you've put in the work," and and you put in the work, or it's obvious that you've worked really hard to get to the level you have, like something like that.
I like that song that you just played.
Yeah, you played that song well, accurately, whatever. Like it's kind of like it's like something that kind of complements your actual like effort and in the thing that, but not the.
It's something you can measure and not this abstract person that you don't really connect to.
Yeah.
Right. It's mostly just, hey, I can connect to the thing I just did because it's logical. I can measure it. I can understand the mechanics of it. But then if you try to connect to me, I don't even connect to me, so it doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah. I think that's a little different for me, in the sense that it's more like I'm more emotionally connected to the activity, right, or the thing I'm doing, than I will often be with most humans, right, or people, directly on an interpersonal level. It's almost like I'm connecting to humanity through the activity itself, and so I want the emphasis or the focus to be on that. I don't want it to. I don't want my activity to be pulled into the interpersonal realm, as a primary reason, like for that praise or whatever. Like I don't know.
I don't think it has to be. It just has to be like a strong enough motivation, I guess, or a strong enough reason to do something. And if that's there, then that kind of bolsters the how you see it. So for example, like I'm taking an interest in singing, for example, right? And like that for me is tied to feeling for a very long time that I don't really have like a voice, not in that singing voice, but just like agency. So it's a way to kind of
I got you the moment you said it, no worries.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that's quite a common thing, but motivation, but like that is quite. But then again, I can also see how if one is let's just say sort of dissociated, like not really, then like even that can become sort of a bit murky and a bit more meaningless at times. But I just think you have to have like lots of different motivations. I think that's sort of my like philosophy on it, really, or like take.
No, that's good. I like to hear it because like it's cool to hear like our differing perspectives on this matter that is, even though we can kind of commiserate on the issues that come with this stuff, we've all kind of developed our own way and method and interpretation that allows us to manage these things and so on and so forth. And so like the reason, oh no, I broke my toy. Damn it. I was fiddling with it too much. I'm sad. Anyway, That's like one of my favorite fidgets. But yeah. So there might be someone out there listening because we got like quite a few people watching now. There might be well, not quite a few, but enough. There might be somebody out there that hears how you deal with it, here's how I deal with it, here's how Shadow might deal with it, and there's going to be a person out there in that group of people that watch this that might resonate with that version of how it's dealt with. And I don't know if that helps like one Zoid that's out there in some capacity to, you know, start going down a track that will help them kind of figure out how to lessen the blow. I think that's ultimately worth it. I'm so pissed I broke this. You have no idea. This is like one of my... I have this like the spindly thing, and it was connected here. And what I like doing is I like disconnecting the pieces and then playing with them individually. But unfortunately, when I disconnected this piece, the little nub like broke off into it. So yeah, that toy's fucked. Anyway, but let me get to the actual submissions here. I want to see them. So, and then if you guys have any thoughts on them, you're more than welcome. Let's see here. All right. So first submission, and it's a little bit lengthy, but I like that actually. Okay. Dear Angst, the way I've been looking at it recently, abolition is not bad in that it prevents you from doing what you want to do, but instead illuminating, in that it reveals to you what matters most in life and what does not. Obviously, you won't do things that you won't find value in, as there's nothing to give you that push. I rarely play games in general because they're just not fun enough, and crucially, I see them as a waste of time I could be using elsewhere in more valuable activities. So if I do anything, I have to have valuable reason to do it. I don't talk to people because I don't find value in many people's thoughts. Don't go out because I have nothing requiring it. I don't have a driving license because I have no interest or need to go anywhere. The things I do either out of basic necessity requiring no effort, eating, sleeping, working, or I need to read for the only source of pleasure in my life. I need to exercise because I have chronic pain. Recently, I actually have begun to play some games or watch anime, time-consuming activities I normally wouldn't value, because now I've reordered my thinking into seeing wasting time as valuable. Nice. And if I have fun, then that's just a bonus. I waste time to get the weekend or my holidays off work faster, where I can go all in on reading for the entirety of my time off. It's reaching that point that is valuable to me. As for anhedonia, it's inevitable. If you do the same thing over and over again, regardless of if you love it to do it, will it really never get boring? The first few months or years of it might be fun as you discover new things or acquire new skills to be proud of, until it becomes harder and harder to find new things within your specific interest to rekindle your attention and interest. Okay, so that's a perspective. I'm trying to... Anyway. Maybe in those cases, I'll take a step back, take a break from them, or just accept that I've milked it dry and move on. If I read a book and do not find it fun to do so, is that a problem with me? Not necessarily. Maybe the book is just boring. It's fine to drop it and move on. See, this is what's interesting about that. This is my opinion there. I personally see this happen, but what I question regarding this stance on it is that there's a distinct possibility, because I used to do this when I was a lot younger, there's a distinct possibility that it didn't get boring, right? It's just that it's boring right then and there. Everything's probably going to be pretty boring when you're talking about anhedonia. Everything's going to feel pretty empty and boring. And so what I've noticed some Zoids have done, and I'm not saying this is the case for this person, they'll associate that feeling with, oh, the thing must have run its course, right? Like that's what they'll oftentimes connect it to. They're like, I'm trying to do this thing still. It feels like nothing. It must be the thing. It's run its course. And if they later have like a inclination to want to return to that thing when that anhedonia is less present, then they might basically rationalize that would be silly because obviously it's already run its course. Why would I return to doing that? because the association to this boredom, this kind of numbness to it, is being put on the object or the activity itself. So I've talked to a lot of schizoids that basically have done, they've had like they switch, like they don't have, they have very few, if any, like specific passions that they like decide to dedicate a good portion of their life to. They seem to sort of jump from new novelty to new novelty, thinking, "Oh, the novelty's done with this. I need to find a new novelty," and so on and so forth. And I don't know. It might be interesting for the people that do that. It might be interesting for them to maybe go back and try those things that you thought ended. You might be wrong. You might be incorrect in that assumption. Maybe you don't have to keep jumping to the new thing. That'll just feel like something. Maybe the old things will feel like something again. So give it a try. I'd like to... oh, go ahead. Sorry. No, go ahead.
I mean, I sort of feel like that's precisely why you need like a strong enough motivation that's not... It's not sort of shallow, but has sort of, various roots. Because I've done various stuff, like I did like a game sort of dev thing project or whatever, intended to do it.
And doing it eventually.
Well, I'm sort of parking it. I mean, I feel like it was, a bit of a side path or whatever, but I don't know. I feel like it. I guess I weren't clear on the motivation for it either. So it's like, yeah, I feel like there has to be more. There has to be more of a like a strong reason to do something.
Yeah, I mean that's how we define that strength is gonna differ from person to person, right? I kind of like. One of the things that I vibe with and what I was reading is the whole the value of wasting time. I think wasting time on occasion, not like as a primary thing, is important in my life and a lot of people's lives. The act of, it doesn't have to be playing a video game or doing some activity that ultimately doesn't turn into something. It could just be I'm going to. If you like to be outside and you like the nature or something, it's just I'm gonna put a big blanket on the floor, and I'm just gonna lay here and listen to the trees and enjoy the wind and maybe have a nice glass of water and just sit here for an hour and a half, enjoying just the nice weather. Like it's just I mean. It's funny because most people won't do, oh, it's a waste of time. It is. It's a waste of time, but that's good. I think wasting time is important. We call it wasting time. I consider it to be productive, especially for when it comes to one's mental health. And so in that sense, it's productive, I think. But I don't know. I'm sure, Olivia, I'm sure you would have thoughts on how society has kind of dictated what a waste of time is and isn't, right? So I think I've heard you mention or talk about how we get kind of subjugated to sort of these ideas, right? Like of how something is defined by the society we inhabit. And I think, yeah. Oh, I don't know. They might have stepped away.
Yeah.
Oh, no, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, to a certain extent. I mean, again, like, what is considered a waste of time is very much personal, I feel. But I've certainly identified various things that, in hindsight, I consider a waste of time because I feel it didn't really add much to my life. It didn't really like enrich it. It didn't really have like a longer like it wasn't really really lasting, let's say.
Do you think
You
there's
know.
times where do you think there is a value though in occasionally doing nothing or doing something that could be perceived
Oh,
as nothing?
oh, for sure, yeah, for sure. I mean, like, I think, if you're doing something just to like unwind a bit, then I don't see that as a waste of time because I'm sort of conscious that that's what I'm spending my time on. But I have done it sort of compulsively in the past, where I've like, even just like sat and watched YouTube videos or whatever, which is probably like a relatable one, maybe.
Yeah, or what do they call it? Doom scrolling? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, doom scrolling. Yeah, it's like, and I know it's not adding anything to my life. Like same as just like reading the news obsessively. Like it's just not gonna add anything to my life.
Maybe
Yeah,
And
I don't like watching a lot of the news, even though plenty of people have told me I really should, because I need to know what's going on. And to be fair, I don't watch the news to like a really big extent, so maybe they're right. But I don't feel like it adds anything to my life. I feel like all of my problems still are there, and the news doesn't really like change my life in any significant or meaningful way. But I have a really complicated relationship with wasting time because I always I always find value in something in some way, which can be bad. It's if I'm always finding value in something, then I can do the most mundane things and find like a glimmer of value out of it and be like, oh, that was worthwhile when I could have found more value out of something else. Or like a different kind of value
Oh,
doing
I see
something
what you're
else.
saying. Yeah.
mm,
You'll like give value to things that you might like you'll have trouble differentiating what is actually a waste of time for you and isn't because you'll find something.
Yeah. Because like in effect, it would have been technically wasting time, but I'll like justify it because I genuinely find some sort of value to it. But I magnify the little value out of the wasted time to get that value.
Yeah. That makes sense. That's actually a pretty heavy thought. Thanks for that, Shadow.
mm.
The magnification, yeah, it's interesting. Oh, go ahead, sir.
Heavy thought. No, I'm laughing because you took it in a nihilistic way that I didn't mean to.
Oh, did I? Okay.
Oh, that's a really heavy thought that you're adding so much value to things when they could be wrong,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I
Kind
think
of
so.
goes
Yeah,
nihilistic.
yeah, it's interesting. What were we gonna say, Olivia?
I mean, just to add onto what you were saying, Shadow. Like, I feel like, I mean, hindsight is a very powerful motivator. Like for me, it's like, if I look back, I can identify areas where I'm like, okay, I could have done this a bit differently. So it's sort of like a dynamic process, I feel, of discovering what has and hasn't worked.
Yeah.
And then I mean, like, Aristotle comes to mind. I don't want to get too philosophical, but
Nah,
like,
you do
like,
it. Start name
just like
dropping.
like the various causes, like the fact that like sort of the final cause is death, and then it's like, well, if you work backwards from that, you can kind of like figure out, well, in a very abstract sense, some kind of like path that you want to be on.
Yeah.
And I feel like I do feel there's value in trying to find like some kind of thread that you want to kind of like follow rather than it just being like lots of different things, because it's kind of like the whole like mastery versus being a jack of all trades kind of thing. And I've always struggled with that. I've never really just stuck to one thing.
Yeah.
So it's sort of about, I think for me, it's like about trying to find some, and it doesn't mean to say that I want to, like, I'm ever going to be like the best at something. Like, there's probably always going to be people who are better, but it's just more about finding a path that is sort of cohesive and adds on and adds cumulatively on top of each other rather than being like just an amalgamation.
Yeah, because that amalgamation thing was just kind of it's kind of like having a bunch of jigsaw pieces from like 100 different puzzles. And
Yeah, that's a
yeah,
good way of putting it. Actually.
yeah, you like have like 100 pieces from 100 different puzzles, and you can't even if some of them kind of fit, it's all fucked up and disjointed, right? Instead of trying to collect 100 pieces for that same puzzle, and then you can have a clear, large picture of it. So yeah, that's really interesting. I like that. Thank you.
And often things take a bit of a leap of faith as well, or like just a constant not knowing. It's like, I don't know, like maybe with this whole guitar thing, in like a few months. I mean, I don't think so, but like maybe I'll just be like, oh fuck it, and like to do something else, or maybe it will like lead on to something. I don't know which one that's gonna be exactly. I mean, I have a stronger feeling that it's gonna be more than other things I've done, because I have something to like compare and contrast to. But I don't know, like
I mean, if the guitar thing fails, I would like hindsight take that as an, hey, I tried to do something and I went through with it, and I succeeded in at least going to do something. So that gives me hope that I can do something else.
But the thing is that I don't have any
to drive forward.
Yeah, but like I don't have any expectations of it. It's like, well, if I can play like a song for someone and like make them happy or bring some joy or something, then it's like that's a win already,
So sentimental.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's just
I'm just messing with you.
Like, so.
Yeah, that's good. That is really good. Let me go. I just read Solar's, because no one typed me anything as usual, but Solar had said eating the habanero peppers helps me with anhedonia.
Maybe. I mean, I struggle a lot with
fucking mouth's on fire, so.
Like, I struggle a great deal with being dissociated from my body. Like, that's something I am constantly like, oh, I'm more dissociated from my body physically than other people are, and I have to like always consciously be mindful of that.
Interesting. Think about a dissociated autist. That's a mind fuck.
Yeah, so it's just like, oh, if I'm struggling right now, it's because in all actuality I am too stimulated. I just can't feel that I'm too stimulated, but it's like, if I can't feel it, then why am I too stimulated?
Yeah, but your body's telling you otherwise, right? Your mind's saying one thing, and your body is like, yeah.
Your body's like, hey, I'm still here even if you can't feel me.
Yeah.
Fucking stupid.
Yeah. I mean, do you feel like you dissociate from your body when you don't have a strong connection with your like surroundings, like grounded, like where things kind of have meaning? Because I remember when I were in Berlin before, like that wasn't great for me, and I felt like,
oh yeah, I remember you described it.
That whole environment kind of made me disconnect from my surroundings, and then by extension kind of disconnect from myself, because I couldn't be involved in the environment in order to like experience myself. That's how I like, yeah.
Kind of depends with me, because I think one of the easiest ways I get dissociated isn't even based on what's happening, or it could just be like I wake up and that's just how the day's gonna be, because I don't know, something decided it. But like a lot of things that make me daydream, right? There's a few different triggers I've noticed throughout the years, like a lot of religion, actually. Like a lot of religious music, a lot of choir songs, or a lot of like kind of like haunting kind of music kind of takes me out of it. But I don't know, it just, if it triggers anything that makes me, like daydream, or like gets me into more schizotypal delusion imagination stuff, then That's just how it is. It's not necessarily anything differently. It's not that I'm connected to my environment, but it's something takes me out of it.
All right, I do want to continue reading this here, so because I don't want to get to like 8:30 and I'm not done. Let me see here. Okay, it's the end of the one I was already reading. It says, I'd like to add what a lot of what you may think is abolition may also not necessarily always be because of SCPD, but instead the result of other things: the nonstop TikTok, YouTube, internet consumption, burning you out with their freaking dopamine drips, various reasons. I'd recommend turning off the computer, resist the urge to mindlessly scroll, enter a different room that has no relation to what is distracting you, separate your activities into easily digestible smaller steps, or limit your choices if you have too many. Try some motivational self-help tricks, analyze your desires, figure out what is valuable to you, change your perspective to make things have new value. There are many things that can be done. If you want something badly enough, you'll find a way. All right. Well, that ended on a nice optimistic note there. All right, so let me see here. Okay, here's the next one. Dear Angst, oh, this one's like an outline. Okay. It starts when I decide to do a task, a goal, a hobby, or any productive thing while alone. An invisible, undetectable specter of my abandoning mother shows up in my mind and demands that I do whatever it is correctly. I have to be an optimistic, dutiful, capable, bright, and shiny kid who can do anything and everything. She's cold, indifferent, demanding, threatening, oppressive, rejecting, surveilling, and abandoning. According to her rules, I have to pretend I'm fine and happy and capable and do not mind being abandoned at all, or else she will show up for real and eat me alive, or like abandon me even harder. I have to pretend to be happy and capable. Everything's fine. I can do anything for a second or so. But actually, I don't want to spend a minute like this. It's disturbing and awful, and I want out immediately. I withdraw from the situation, fuck my goals, let me play video games and forget what I wanted to do. Nothing I intended to do or achieve is even remotely interesting anymore. Fuck all that, leave me alone, let me out. I'm gone into the void. She can't reach me here. This is my version of abolition and hedonia looks like. I kind of have a solution to this, but it is not a one and done kind of thing. I have to do it whenever I feel it creeping in again. Basically, I grind my teeth and sit with the hate, feeling abandoned, defiantly unhappy about it, angry at being threatened and surveilled, etc., etc. And just try to do my work anyway, as much as possible, since she hates me for showing unhappiness. I make sure to not pretend otherwise, and I'm afraid to cry because then she will know for sure, but I cry anyway. Work has become way easier to do since I started doing this. Damn.
You know, that sounds like a lot of what I was saying earlier with it's like the anhedonia creeps in when you perceive an emotional connection and it triggers stuff that you're dissociated from feeling, so you don't know what's happening.
Well, so in this case, in this case, they definitely know what the trigger is.
Yeah, but it's like they understand that whatever's what triggers the anhedonia is an emotional connection, and they know what the emotional connection being triggered is.
Yeah, I mean that's very useful.
That's like exactly what I was just saying earlier.
Yeah, well, that's useful. Obviously, it seems to be working for them to have an actual target. The difficulty becomes with those people that they can't even identify their target, right?
Yeah, like me, when I'm just like, oh, why do I feel like this? Oh, wait, my body's stimulated. Why? I don't even know if it's stimulated. I have to go through this entire checklist to be like, am I stimulated?
Over the last year and a half, you basically, and you know, I think in the last month or 2 months, you've done some crazy shit. Like you kind of, after a lot of soul searching and working on it, you were able to kind of pinpoint some of the, I guess what some people like to term like a core wound or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, like paranoia. Like genuinely understanding what paranoia was like completely life-changing to me.
It's crazy to think that you were dealing with paranoia, but couldn't really recognize it as that.
Yeah, exactly. It was literally just recognizing that at least uncomprehensible feelings was paranoia. That was everything.
like you're like I'm thinking like I'm guessing, oh, I'm like really anxious about this situation, but why? I don't understand. This doesn't make sense. Why is my body anxious? So you were kind of like you were disconnected from the thing that was causing.
I was afraid of people. I was
anxiety.
afraid of myself. I always had these same daydreams that happened when it came about. It was always, in certain situations, but I could never just line up the dots.
Yeah. The maladaptive dreaming, you say, is a defense for that?
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know what that is. I think that's just it's like a thing I have to deal with. Sometimes it's a defense. Sometimes it's the trigger. It's just a part of me that I have to deal with.
All right. Any thoughts on what I read, Olivia?
Oh,
Oh, it's okay. If you weren't listening, you're good. If you're out of it, you're good. No worries. Oh, I didn't mean to I'm not saying. Was that the case? It's all good. Let me see here. All right. And then we got. Oh, this one actually had another little section after that. Same one. It was separated. I just want to add my previous message that the specter of my mother isn't like an actual entity, hallucination, delusion kind of thing, but more like an ingrained habit, memory, introject, or call it a part object if you're into the whole object relations scene. Yeah. I guess what I'm saying is that there are always ways to deal with it without resorting to exorcism.
Yeah, it's like you personify your emotions as a thing, so it's easier to deal with.
Yeah, I've done that. I think I've done that with like I used to have like when I was in high school and my early 20s, I used to have like these kind of like I would have like revenge daydreams, like revenge fantasies about like
the old Actar's profile at it again.
The old what?
The old Actar's profile at it again. With the
the vengeful. Yeah, no, I would have these kind of, but for me, the targets would generally be like. They would be like almost like faceless things. That
faceless constructs that you've sculpted in your imagination.
Yeah, and like I would
we're going all Jungian with this, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
With like shadow concepts.
The point is, like, that's the kind of revenge fantasies I would get to find some respite, to find some calm. I would take all my rage out on I don't know. Sometimes it would be some person on the news that represented something, or I didn't know anything about them, but I knew what symbolically in my mind they represented. So it would be about like destroying that or ruining that, thing, destroying the thing. I don't know, but yeah, I don't really do that as much anymore because now I've gotten to the point where I'm like, why am I going to daydream about it? Let's try to destroy it for real. But
for me, that was unintentional for a very long time, and it was like more intrusive that I would like symbolically create these imaginative sculptures out of like the clay in my mind, right? Mm-hmm. But then lately, it's become far more conscious of an effort, and it's just easier,
Yeah. No, it can be. All right, there's only one left. This one's a shorty. Let's see here. Dear Angst, I wouldn't say I can manage it effectively. I tried, but I don't have any solid tactic. I do despite it, and I'm just used to it. It takes a lot of fun out of life. Is there a benefit? Maybe that negative tasks are more tolerable, and I have a lot of patience. Yeah, that's kind of that's why I do the productive stuff, because I'm just like, when I'm feeling good is when I want to do the productive stuff the least. Or not productive, but like, the errands and chores.
I just don't want to feel like shit, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's good too.
If I'm feeling good, I don't want to do it. But if I feel like shit, I still don't want to do it.
Oh, okay. Well, I do it anyway because I know I'll feel like shit when I don't feel like shit, because now I have all the shit I have to do during.
Like, I want to feel bored, but feel like normal. You know what I mean? Because then I'll be like, okay, I need to like find something to do, and then I can, focus on it.
Yeah. All right.
That's ideal.
Let me see here. Also, I don't get excited for anything which helps with saving money. but it is in no way a positive thing to have. Oh, okay. So there's no like, yeah, that's actually pretty funny because that reminds me of my wife. Like my wife, like she likes the fun. Like for her, it's fun to get like to find a way to get a good deal on something we need, right? Like it's fun for her. Like she'll like come home and she'll be excited and she'll say, "Look what I found! I got like 5 of these things." That we normally have to pay this much for, but they were for some reason on clearance, and I had a coupon for it. And look, I got all 5, and that saved this much money. Can you believe it? And I get it. Like in my mind, yeah, in my mind, I go, no, that's great. I mean, that's cool. That's good. That's a good thing. I don't really get excited about it, right? Like she does. She gets excited.
Yeah.
She gets like a
I don't
rush.
care about the fact that I saved money. I care that, oh, there's this thing that, I did today, and it involves numbers and math.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, I can see it. For her, I think for what you? No, but for her, I think it's just I don't know, maybe the excitement of finding this little thing. Like it's so funny. My wife gets excited about things that I consider, in my mind, not that they are, but really mundane, or that I don't find as interesting. Like that, like saving on a good deal, or finding a really good coupon, or finding I don't know, just anything like that. Like she'll get excited over these like very like I'm almost jealous sometimes because like she'll just get excited over the most interesting little things, and she'll get like it'll put a pep in her step for the day, and I'm just like, man, I need some peps in my step. Holy shit. But yeah, that's interesting. Huh.
And it's not what you're engaging with, it's how you're engaging with it. I had this talk with someone earlier.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I don't care about sports, but I particularly care more about soccer than I do any other sport. And I don't know why, but it's just something about the sensory perception of the soccer players playing soccer, like physically, is more stimulating than other sports.
So like football.
Yeah, so it's like imagining
each other is not like
imagining
American
that like
football.
you're restraining your hands and you have to use your feet is just more like visually interesting concept.
Oh, I see.
And so like I don't care about the soccer itself, but I care about how they play the game, which is kind of like more autistic sensory perception.
It's interesting because I see your point, because in the case of soccer, they're only allowed to use their legs, they're allowed to use every part of their body except for their arms and their hands. And so it is interesting because what would be a sort of like if somebody asked, hey, how would you get that ball into that net? Most people will probably, depending on what it is, they'll probably just put it in there, like, or just throw it in there. But it's interesting to think that like, or carry it in, because like football you're carrying it in, basketball you're throwing it in with your hands.
Yeah, football it sounds like boring. Basketball kind of interesting because it's a smaller court, so it's easy for me to focus. But it's like the way I engage with something makes it way more fun than the thing I'm actually engaging with.
Yeah, I guess you're saying. I'm just thinking about like with soccer, you have so many options. It's funny, you have so many options except one. You can headbutt it. So
if I'm ever really bored with something, if I'm ever really bored with something, or like I don't really care for something, but like someone else is doing it, and I'm like have nothing better to do. It's interesting to find a way that I can make myself interested in it if I go about it in a way that would be interesting to me. Like that in of itself is a fun challenge. But then again, I tend to find value in pretty much fucking everything I do.
Yeah,
so.
That's so crazy, man. I can't find value in most things that I do. You're over here fucking I mean, I could find one, but I won't feel it.
Yeah. I mean, everything's so boring, man. You know.
Well, I mean, not. Well, I don't think everything's so boring. So
I don't
think
have
most things are
ADHD
boring.
stimulation.
Well, I don't know. I might be losing that too, because fucking I'm taking ADHD meds now, and they're fucking having an impact. That's for sure. I don't know if I like it or don't, or if like the benefits outweigh it. I'll talk to you about it after if you're interested in hearing a new med I'm taking. But in any case, well, thanks a lot, everyone. I think I'm gonna end it here. Value maxing. There you go, Khalil. Thanks a lot for listening, guys. Please support me on Patreon. For those that watch the VOD, I really appreciate anybody that already is doing it. Thank you. I don't know, most of you probably don't give a shit about being thing, but nonetheless, I say it for myself, I guess. And also PayPal and everything else. It helps. Every dollar helps. So on and so forth. All right, guys. Talk later. And please like the video. It's very useful. So that more people can find it.
Like, comment, subscribe, and ring that bell.
And hit that, smash that like button.
Smash that like button.
Yeah, just hit it with your dick. Anyway, all right. All right, guys. We'll talk later. As usual, when day is dark, always remember, happy day.